Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with two comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. It is Wednesday, March 9th, and we got an interesting lineup today. We're going to talk about the second half of the first season of Pennyworth, but we got some news that hit today that is well worth talking about too. And we should lead off with that. It's stuff that is probably going to change how you view things coming up. Of course, I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts trading Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. No, I'm just kidding. That is one of the things that happened. There's a lot of quarterbacks. If you are a sports fan, you're seeing a lot of quarterback changes happen. Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos, Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay, and now Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. And if you're not familiar with who the hell the Washington Commanders are, they used to be the Redskins, but the name became insensitive, which it definitely is. They finally realized it and changed the name. Not sure if Commanders is going to be a great name, but then again, did anybody really think Dodgers was going to be a good name back when that started, or Lakers, or...
I've decided we're just going to mispronounce Commanders in a bunch of different ways. The Commandeers, the Commandeers.
Commandants.
Yeah, we're just going to make fun of them when they play badly.
EPC, Washington Comrades.
Right, the Washington Comrades. You know,
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff that we can do to make fun of the Washington Commanders. But their biggest mistake is not making the Jeep Commander their official mascot.
Yet. They haven't done it yet.
Well, their official mascot is the letter W.
Yeah, but...
Like, it's a very Sesame Street logo.
Yeah.
You know, the Washington Commanders are brought to you by W for Y.
Now, see, I do like the Washington Commanders for one reason, is I'm a big fan of Ron Rivera as a coach. He did a great job in Carolina for a long time, took us to a Super Bowl. And
one of the best guys in the NFL as well.
Absolutely. Just Riverboat Ron, just great guy. Does a lot for charity, does a lot for the troops. And I will always root for him to succeed. So hopefully Carson Wentz is a pretty good guy too. So I have no problems with that team. I hope they do mostly well, except when they're playing the Carolina Panthers, because I'm a Panther fan. All right. No, there's two big news stories today. First, of course, was the release of the trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I don't want to get too much into that because I need to watch it about another 30 times, pick out all the stuff in it that I can, like, oh, that's the Grand Inquisitor, and that's probably the fifth brother, and Inquisitor Reva, and stuff like that. And it's nice to see Joel Edgerton back, along with, of course, Ewan McGregor. Hello there. Really, really good trailer, but they get you right in the beginning when they start playing Duel of the Fates. That's what gets a lot of people. I've been seeing it all over the web. They're like, "Oh my God, they played Duel of the Fates. Does that mean Darth Maul's coming back? Are we going to get Darth Maul?" Yeah. This is probably a pretty safe trailer to watch for you, Kyle. This doesn't give away much of the story. We know that it takes place between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope. So we know Order 66 has happened, that, we know Ben's on Tatooine, keeping an eye on Luke, and we know that the Empire is hunting the last remaining Jedi. That's pretty much all we get from the trailer, too. It just goes, yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. If you watched Star Wars Rebels, then you probably know a little bit more, because a couple of the characters that we see pop up are new to live action, but they've been in the animated stuff, which they do all the time. They love bringing the animated characters in and making it canon. And I saw someone talk today about how Star Wars does something, then they spend the next 10 years trying to make you feel better about it and make you actually like it. And that's what Clone Wars and Rebels was to make the prequel series you like it. I think this will be the final thing that connects it to the main trilogy, we got the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Or what do you call the first trilogy? Just the trilogy? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but the trailer looks really good. We don't get a whole lot of time with, Kenobi and stuff like that, but yeah, it looks good. It really does. And we get quite a bit of a look at Owen Lars, and it looks like he's going to get in some shenanigans, but and we get a look at a new planet. But again, all of that I'll go through tomorrow. I'll do a deep dive into it, then break it down. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer then. I am not the biggest. I don't have the most knowledge on the animated stuff. I haven't watched all of Clone Wars and Rebels, but I have gained a lot of knowledge through research and stuff. So I might be able to answer any questions you guys have on some of those characters. And I hope to have some answers for you before the show tomorrow. So that'll be one of our major talking points tomorrow. We'll see what else comes up in the news. The other bit of news that dropped about 2 hours ago, Dwayne Johnson posted or announced that Black Adam was moving. It was going to move from July 29th, which is a really good summer date, to October 21st. Now, historically, October is not a great month for movies. I mean, Venom 2 is probably the biggest box office hit in October. And that did 90 million. So if Black Adam may not be thinking it's going to do 100 million. So maybe moving it to October. Also moving is DC League of Super Pets, which Dwayne talked about as well. That's going to move from May 20th to July 29th, which is interesting because when they put out the trailer the other day for that, they didn't have a date attached to it. So I was wondering about that and kind of expected this kind of announcement. Why they're moving an animated movie, I don't know. They're saying they're moving these movies, and there's more moves to come, but that's what's the first to announce. They said that it's partially because of COVID delays. And yeah, maybe the animation houses got delayed. I know that happened to What If, but you would think they would be back up to speed by now. But so Super Pets goes from May 20th to the July 29th date, where Black Adam was, and Black Adam moves out to October 1st, which, of course, is going to be a domino effect. By the way, if you haven't seen the trailer for DC League of Super Pets, it's pretty awesome. You've got the voices of Dwayne Johnson as Crypto, and you've got Kevin Hart as Ace the Bat Hound. But you also have John Krasinski as Superman. You've got, and then you've got Keanu Reeves is doing the voice of Batman. So basically, we got John Krasinski and Keanu Reeves as Superman and Batman. So yeah, it's an animated thing. Yeah, it's more for kids, but come on, how cool would it be to have those two in a movie together as Superman and Batman? Then again, do we need another? I mean, we've had so many versions of Batman. They could have just got Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck to do the voices. I mean, or Robert Pattinson, or Michael Keaton, or Kevin Conroy, or Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly would have been good choices for that as well. Or George Newberry is another guy who did Superman. But so DC Super Pets, May 20th to July 29th. Black Adam moves from July 29th to October 21st. Now, that's just the beginning of the shift. Also moving, The Flash is moving from November 4th to June 23rd, 2023. It is moving from, basically into the complete next calendar year's summer. Now, it could be that they think the movie is going to be big, but it could also be because they want to make some changes to it, to add more stuff. When you look at how well Spider-Man No Way Home did and all the cameos and stuff that were in there, maybe they're sitting back going, we could add more. There is more we can do, since this is going to be like a multiverse thing. Aquaman. Now, this is probably a good thing for Aquaman. Aquaman is going to move from December 16th to March 17th. Now, it opened originally in December for the first time and did okay, but it had legs. It just kind of picked up and kept going and kept going. But this one, I think moving it makes a lot of sense because it was going to open the same day as Avatar 2, assuming Avatar 2 actually opens. So that's two movies vying for top spot that both could get it, but would take from each other's audience, or you'd find people going to both movies in the same weekend. But it's going to move, so like I said, from December 16th to March 17th. Wonka, the Timothy Chalamet reboot. It's not even a reboot. It's a continuation or a prequel. I mean, it's not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's not, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's another story of Wonka. And that's going to move from March 17th, which had been its date, to December 15th, which makes it a Christmas movie. And that kind of makes sense. I could see Wonka being a Christmas movie. Now, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which was the June 23rd movie. No, actually, Shazam was June 2nd, 2023, and it's going to move up. Wait a minute. Am I reading that right? I want to double check that. According to Deadline, I'm picking a lot of the stuff off of Deadline, give them credit where credit is due. It's moving from June 2nd up to December 16th of this year. So where we were going to wait till next summer for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, it's bumping up, and it's actually going to be released before Black Adam? No. So Black Adam will be October 21st, and then Shazam will be December 16th. So that's two Shazam family movies in 3 months. That seems kind of weird. And then if you are a fan of the Meg 2, The Trench, is set for August 4th of 2023. Now, that's also interesting because James Wan was going to do a spin-off series, spin-off movie of Aquaman called The Trench. So it's interesting that Meg 2, The Trench is coming out when that spin-off movie got moved. But so, yeah, that's a lot of moving around. Again, it surprises me that Shazam's moving up. Means they must be done and ready and things are going great on it. And no problem. It's going to be good to go in December where all these other ones need a delay. But that is odd. All right. So I hope you wrote all those dates down. You'll be ready when they come out. And those are the big news stories for today coming out of, the superhero stuff. Now, Yeah, I probably shouldn't just keep reading it, but okay, let's go on to Pennyworth. And let's kind of recap. If you haven't been watching Pennyworth, and you probably haven't because up until recently, it has been on Epix. And I don't know anybody who has Epix. I think I did for a little while, and then I changed cable providers and it went away. And I didn't notice it went away because I never watched anything on Epix. And then suddenly this came out. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have Epix, so I guess I won't be watching Pennyworth. And when a Blu-ray came out, I put it on my wish list on Amazon. I just never got around to buying it. But you know, it's a Gotham prequel that I thought, well, Gotham is over. Do we really need a Gotham prequel? You know. But then when I heard that they were getting a third season, it's already done 2 full seasons. They've got a third season in the works. And that the third season would actually debut on HBOMax. And that seasons 1 and 2 were being brought over as well, so we could watch them. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I might give it a shot now. You know, and I'd heard it's kind of a James Bond's version, you know, a James Bond type thing. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I went on the other night and I was just flipping through trying to find something of interest. You know, I was getting hyped for the Batman coming out. And I decided, all right, hey, there's Pennyworth. I'd forgotten it was even coming over. Let's watch Pennyworth. Watch an episode. So I watched an episode, then a second. And I was liking it well enough. Then the third episode got me. And then I watched all 10 of season 1. Because that's the way it basically, if I get through a third episode on something, I'm just going to keep going. It's the same thing with Reacher. When I watched Reacher, it's like, I'll watch an episode. I'll just try another one. Oh, third. Yep. It's 7 in the morning. And I'm done with all the episodes. So the thing is with it is, yes, it's supposed to be a Gotham prequel series. So if you don't like Gotham, I can see why you'd be hesitant to watch it. The thing is, though, it has very little to do with Gotham, other than it's Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon. The guys that created Gotham created this. That and the fact that there was a point on Gotham where they very much were going to do, it's a police procedural show taking place in Gotham City. It's going to follow Jim Gordon and some other cops, and it's going to be a cop show. And everybody went, no. You got you got Oswald Cobblepot, and you got Edward Nygma. Let's follow them. Let's see what's going on with them. You know, and it went about a season, maybe 2, where it went, yeah, no, we're a police procedural. And then I think somebody at Fox probably went, if you want to stay on the air, you need to do something different. And they went, okay, embrace the insanity. And Gotham went completely insane. It started doing the most outrageous stories, bringing in so many characters. They brought in Solomon Grundy, and they didn't even just bring him in. They turned one of the characters that started the series as just a standard gangster into Solomon Grundy. They brought in the Mad Hatter. They brought in Mr. Freeze. They brought in Killer Croc, Arkham Asylum, Hugo Strange. And just down the line, they went Firefly. I mean, they went to every corner of the various rogues gallery you could go to. They brought in the Executioner, which is this minor Batman villain, but they made him important. They had like 3 different Poison Ivies. They kept changing it. She was a little girl, then suddenly she was an adult, and then suddenly she was a completely different adult. But they wrote it like it was supposed to happen that way. Like changing Doctor Who actors. So Gotham is one of those that if you bailed out early, I get it. But they embrace the insanity. And if you just thought of it as an Elseworlds, it became just crazy fun. This is kind of the same thing in a lot of ways. And even though, like I said, they were supposed to be Sean Pertwee played Alfred in Gotham, and it's supposed to be his early days. The problem is when they went to cast, they weren't really thinking about Sean Pertwee. they started thinking about Michael Caine. They started thinking about his version of Alfred from the Dark Knight trilogy. And that one point where he says that he used to be part of the SAS. And he talked about the guy that just wanted to watch the world burn. That was the inspiration for this series. The idea of Alfred as a former SAS soldier. And they ran with it. And they cast these great actors. Young, you don't really see them in other things. I mean, they've all done little things. I think one of them was, Jack Bannon might have been in Harry Potter at one point. Let me see. I think he was in Harry Potter. Let's see. Jack Bannon. Jack Bannon's your lead. And you listen to him in the series and you go, my God, he's doing a great Michael Caine imitation. I mean, really, really good. Like from Alfie, like from The Italian Job, from Get Carter. You think, wow, he's really gotten this down. And then you see some interviews with him and you're like, oh no, that's just how he sounds. They like found a young version of Michael Caine. Previously to this, he had been in The Lock. He'd been in Endeavor, Medici, all before Pennyworth. So now he's in Pennyworth. And they got him, and he is really, really good in this role. He's charming but a blue collar charming, you know, you get that. And he wears that on his sleeve. Like, yeah, I'm the son of a butler. I'm not pretending to be something I'm not, which is hilarious because of some of the stuff that happens in the season. At the end of the first episode, he really, he stops this group called the Raven Society and brings down the guy that claims to be the head of the Raven Society. And in doing so, he gets to meet the Queen. And I thought, well, that's interesting. He gets to meet the Prime Minister and the Queen. No big deal, you know? They just threw that in there because it's supposed to be a British show and it's supposed to be kind of... No. It turns out the Queen becomes a regular, or somewhat regular. She's a recurring. The Queen is a recurring character and gets really interesting. At least in season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet because I wanted to wait till after I reviewed season 1 for you guys before I got into season 2. I want to watch that and talk about it next week. But Jack Bannon really is a young Michael Caine. Ben Aldrich plays Thomas Wayne, and Ben is actually British, but he's playing American, and he's playing it with a really good accent. You know, he's got that down. Emma Pates comes in as Martha Kane. Now, I don't know if they ever settled on what Martha's last name is, because here she's Martha Kane, and that makes sense because Batman's cousin is Kathy Kane or Kate Kane. So Batwoman, that makes sense that she's his mother's side of the family. But we know that they gave Martha a different last name in the Batman movie that just came out. So, all right, moving on. He's got a couple sidekicks. There are 2 soldiers he used to work with, Baza and Dave Boy. And Dave Boy played by Ryan Fletcher. Hainsley Lloyd Bennett plays Baza. You've also got his parents, played by Ian Polston Davies and Dorothy Atkinson. They're great. I mean, Jason Fleming plays the head of the Raven Society, and you think that he's a one and done in the first episode, but he comes back and in a very disturbing way. And just down the line, everybody they bring in is just really, really good. But the thing is that they spend the first half of the season establishing this relationship between Alfred or Alfie and Esme. And it goes through the first 3 episodes. And you get the feeling, I mean, they're talking about marriage, you know, all that stuff. and it's really good. It's cute. They're a good couple. She's an actress. He's trying to start his own security business, and he's helping out different people on the side. He helps Thomas Wayne in the first one because he gets forced to save Esme. He has to bring Thomas Wayne. He ends up saving everybody. That's how he gets to meet the Queen, brings down the Raven Society. But from there, he gets pulled in by Martha Kane to help the No Name group. The No Name. I think I'm mixing up the names. It's the No Name group and the Raven Society. We're going to go with that for now. So he does a lot of these like spy for hire type things for them. He helps her, track down the name of the new head of the Raven Society. And it's a very Avengers-esque type episode. At one point, he helps her rescue a scientist who's been arrested for homosexual activity, and he has to help her get him out of the country. Get him on a plane when the Raven Society is trying to capture him. And it's just down the line. And we meet there's a couple people that are associated with the Raven Society besides Jason Fleming's character. There's Bet and her sister Peg, who turn out to be hugely important as this goes on. And then we also meet Thomas Wayne has a sister named Patricia, who again is not canon that I have ever seen anywhere. But suddenly he's got a sister who's a drunk and is just partying all over London. But the first 5 episodes are pretty straightforward. He gets involved with the head of a crime organization called John Ripper, who's a mortician. He has to do a job for him. And it's all this stuff where he is basically, every time he turns around, he's doing something to hurt either the Raven Society or the No Name group. He doesn't seem loyal to either one. And both of them, that's like the left wing and the right wing going against the British government. Well, like I said, the first four episodes are pretty straightforward. The 4th episode ends with Esme being killed. And then episode 5 is him dealing with that and how this Ripper guy brings him out of it. And I really should have done the spoiler thing. But what we're going to do is let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll run spoilers. And that's the only spoiler I'm going to give without the warning. So let's do a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I'm your host, Henry Kumpel. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Gang Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody, welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey,
What's up?
welcome everyone for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody, welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Comic culture and sales.
All right. So now that you have been properly warned that spoilers are coming.
Oh, I thought we were warning people that you had spoiled.
No, that didn't happen. You can't even find it on the tape. It's not there. I didn't say that Esme gets killed in the fourth episode.
Oh, I was talking about that thing where if you leave milk out of the refrigerator too long.
That I probably have spoiled.
That was I don't know. I needed to make a joke, and I don't know if I did a good job of it. But
you know what a joke is, right?
Yeah, but I'm a fan of jokes that aren't necessarily funny to anyone other than me.
That's a weird thing to be a fan of, but good for you.
I play to a crowd of one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, or like I didn't say, wink, wink, Esme is killed, and episode 5, we end with him basically snapping out of it and being forced into doing something that shakes up the balance between the Raven Society and the No Name Group. It's huge. And then the back half of the season happens. That's what we're talking about today. Because it goes from pretty straightforward political spy type thing to, hey, let's have an entire episode where we introduce Aleister Crowley and Satan. Yeah. So, Martha Kane and Patricia Wayne go to a debauched party is how they refer for it, for the famed magician and Satanist Aleister Crowley, in which at the end, Martha wakes up naked in a field and finds out that she has lost 3 days. Patricia is missing, and Thomas Wayne is a little concerned about his sister. And then, of course, there's this whole thing with them finding out she's still at Crowley's place, and him trying to get Thomas's soul in exchange for letting his sister go, and meeting Satan. And it is one of the it's 2 episodes back to back, and they're just absolutely crazy. It is completely out of left field. It's like, yeah, we're doing this British spy thriller. It's kind of the Avengers meets Get Carter, and oh, by the way, Satan's coming. And they don't come back to him. They do this thing, and I believe Aleister Crowley is supposed to pop back up again in season 2, but he doesn't pop up again in season 1. He's just gone. He's around for 2 episodes, very well played, just creepy as hell, and then gone. Absolutely gone. And he's played by it's always so hard to find things. John Joe O'Neill, who I'm not familiar with. He's one of those guys that I've seen his face before. So I know he's been, I've seen stuff. He was in the Queen's Gambit, the Fall, Patrick Melrose, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So he's done a lot of stuff, but he's not a big name. But he's one of those guys that you look at him and you go, oh, I've seen him before. Well, he does a great job as Aleister Crowley, and it is just really weird. But at the same time, all this is going on. Ripper makes a deal. How Ripper got Alfred to kill the head of the No Name League is to tell him that Esme wasn't a random killing, that it was somebody trying to get back at Alfred, and he knew how to find out who it was. He does the killing, the assassination. Ripper sends him to this woman named Baroness Otley, who is very Hannibal Lecter-ish, but she's supposed to be a witch. So in the episodes where we are introduced to Satan, we're also introduced to witchcraft. And it's this whole thing where he's trying to get the information out of her, but he doesn't believe in all that stuff. And then when he finally does find out who it is, he has to go through all of this because the guy is protected. He's actually a member. His father is a member of the parliament, and all of this, and it just totally batshit crazy. And while all that's going on, remember I talked about Lord Harwood? Yeah, Harwood. There's no D. Lord Harwood, who was basically captured in the first episode, tortured, and then he turns out he gets thrown out on the street, and he's been so abused, he no longer has a nose. It's just like red skull, gone, just an open thing. And Bet's the crazy woman who used to work for him, finds him on the street, and he's mentally just screwed up. So she and her sister have been nursing him back. Well, he starts coming back around, and he starts getting his memory back and stuff like that, and decides to become the head of the Raven Society again and do a big push. And the Raven Society is basically going to try to take over and stop, basically take over England. And there's this usurper to the throne is what they referred to him, a cousin of the queen, that says that he should be king, and he was exiled, and they sneak him back in the country, so they got all that going on. And then at one point, they kidnap the queen, and they hold her hostage. And it is, again, absolutely crazy because Peg is a dominatrix. And to hide her and Bet out when she's rescued Bet from the execution, they hid in one of her clients' house, just showed up and moved in, and basically turned both her client and his wife into their slaves. And they just had them running around the house and doing whatever they want. And then they bring Lord Harwood in, and they start rehabilitating him. And then they kidnap the queen. They bring the queen there. So this poor couple, who's being dominated and controlled by this woman, suddenly have the Queen of England as a prisoner in their home. And it just gets crazier and crazier as it goes. And Raven Society basically has the Queen send a message that he's now the new prime minister. And, that wouldn't have been surprising. It absolutely would not have been surprising if she turned out to be a lizard person. But Pennyworth, remember, this is an Alfred Pennyworth story. Alfred and his buddies figure out that the Queen's been kidnapped and who has done it. And they set out to try to save her so that the army and everything else could be turned back to the actual prime minister instead of Lord Harwood, and would stop the revolution in the street. And there's civil war happening, and you have this dictatorship taking over, and people are being rounded up. And it turns out that Alfred's dad is part of the Raven Society. He's part of what they call the Old Guard, but we don't really know what that is. So you've got this huge twist all of a sudden, where we go from, it's just a little simple spy story, to, we're dealing with the supernatural and Satan, to we have civil war in London and an usurper through the throne, and martial law, and the Queen is kidnapped. My dada is a Mason. Yeah, I think it's Dad. It's kind of similar, but I've known some Masons, and this is a little crazier. This is a lot crazier. I got invited to a Mason Lodge once, and that's, Anyway, so all of this is going on, and Pennyworth or Alfred realizes that Bet and Peg are the ones that kidnapped the Queen. So they go through the whole rigmarole to save her. And once they save her, they get her to contact the military, who then takes down Lord Harwood. All the Raven Society is taken off the streets. Everything is turned back around, and you're thinking, okay, everything's going back to normal. It's a happy ending, right? Terrific, a happy ending. And along with the happy ending, there's a happy ending. Because it turns out the Queen's a little lonely and likes what Alfred looks like. And she has a little romp with Alfie. Yep, they went there. They went there. And it works in the series, but it's absolutely absurd. And then the next episode happens, and you see Alfred's dad is really upset because he really wanted the Raven Society to take over. And
Hold
his
on,
mom...
Dan, can we go back to she had a romp with Alfie?
Yeah.
Pretend like I was like on point and I played this. Sorry.
Yeah. So, all this is going on. And it's like, but it's over, right? Harwood is in prison now with all of his cronies, and he says, well, if you're trying to take over a country, it's always good to have a backup plan. And by the way, I should have mentioned that because he has no nose, he's now wearing a metal nose in his place. There's no reason why he doesn't have a nose. They just decided to make him look more like a Batman villain, I guess. Anyway, so Alfie's at home and he gets a call on the phone. And it's the Queen. And she's bored. She's at this big dinner party for one of the lords. And they're celebrating the whole thing. And they're celebrating the fact that they took back the government and they took down the Raven Society. And she's bored, but it's obvious she's got a little thing for Alfred. Now, he gets off the phone and talking with his mom, he discovers, and he says goodbye to her. He had said goodbye to his dad earlier, and the dad is a butler for the lord whose house they're at celebrating. So the Queen is at the same place as his dad. And that's when he discovers that his dad was part of the Raven Society. And his dad had said all this stuff like, just remember me as don't believe some of the things they say about me. But we know that his dad is dying of cancer. We find that out earlier in the season. So you think that's what he's doing. But it turns out, no, there's a plan. He's part of the backup plan. So poor Alfred has to race through the streets of London on a motorcycle because he doesn't own a motorcycle, but suddenly he has a motorcycle. Guess he just took it from a guy on the street. And races to the house that his dad works at, where the Queen is going to be. Sneaks his way, not sneaks his way in, but gets past the Secret Service because some of the cooks know him. And as one does, yes. And once he gets in there, he confronts his father. His father has put a bomb in a cake and has brought the cake into the room with all of the British military, basically government. The Queen's there, the Prime Minister's there, all the heads of state. And he tells his dad, don't do it. He's like, I have to. I've made an oath. This is the Raven Society was right. And he goes to press the button and Alfred shoots his dad. But the bomb starts ticking anyway because he's already pressed the button. So Alfred scoops up the Queen and starts racing out of the house. And we see this explosion and people are scurrying about outside and the front door kicks open and here comes Alfred carrying the Queen of England who's passed out in his arms. And that's pretty much the end of season 1. Is that Oedipus? Oedipus married his mother, and
Killed his father, married his mother.
Yeah, it's a half Oedipus. Unless you consider the queen mum, in which case it's kind of maybe 3/4 Oedipus. Yeah. By the way, thanks for bringing in the Greek reference. Always appreciate it. So that's where the season ends. Now, I did go ahead and start watching the first episode of season 2 because I thought, well, how the hell is this going to go forward? He stopped them, but the queen and what happened with most of the heads of state are now dead. This is going to be weird. And we end up doing a time jump. I think it's a year. And Alfred went from being a bouncer at a bar to owning a bar and doing side jobs for basically most of England is now under control of the Raven Society again, while the London is still free and run by the Queen and her people and a new prime minister who was just a cop for most of the first season. And at one point, he's at home with his mother, and he's like, well, we need to get you out of here. We'll go to California. And she's like, I don't want to go to California. I want to stay here. And he's like, well, this is going to be overrun soon. We're losing ground. And she says, yeah, but your father is a hero to the cause. I will be celebrated. So it's very twisted. I mean, yeah. Also, he gets a call from the Queen, or at least the Queen calls, and he dodges the call, like he's dodging a girlfriend. It's like, tell her I'm not here. And his mother's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but she's not here. He's not here. So it is just this absolute crazy show. And that's why it works for me. That's why I'm enjoying it so much. I can't wait to get back into season 2 because it's this total different feel. And from what I understand, the season 3 that's coming up, there's another time jump of 5 years. So isn't New Phone Who Dis to Queen some kind of crime in England? Maybe. Yeah, they have some pretty interesting crimes over there, but yeah, so the Queen's got a little thing for Alfie, and Alfie doesn't seem to reciprocate it, though he did like the shag. Did like that well enough, but yeah, it's... So he goes from having a fiancée to hooking up with the daughter of the bar he frequents to the Queen. All in season 1. Alfred is so much cooler than Bill Finger ever thought he would be. Alfred is Michael Caine. He and Jack Bannon is channeling Michael Caine, and that's the thing. They refer to him as Alfie, which is hilarious because one of Michael Caine's biggest breaks was the movie Alfie, where he plays this womanizer. And there is a lot of a Alfie character in Alfred Pennyworth. No, it is definitely not Alan Napier. It is definitely not Mrs. Harriet. I'm sorry. One moment, Commissioner. I will fetch him. It's definitely not the Batman 66 Alfred. It's not the Tim Burton Batman Alfred either. Michael Gough. It's definitely not that one. This is I can kind of believe that it's the one from the Batman Begins series, the Christopher Nolan ones, and a bit of the Sean Pertwee one. If you mish those two together, I think you get this particular Alfred. And oh no, don't get me wrong, Alan Napier was a great Alfred, and Michael Gough was a great Alfred too. Michael Gough had the touch for being sardonic and for just messing with Batman. Just letting Kim Basinger's character into the cave. Serving him cold soup. I think that Alfred just liked to mess with Batman. But Gotham had a great Alfred. I love Sean Pertwee. He is great. He's the son of a doctor. John Pertwee played the third Doctor. There's a photo out there of Sean Pertwee dressed up in his dad's costume, looking like his dad for Halloween a couple years ago. When I was still at Bleeding Cool, I got to interview him, and just the nicest guy. It was his birthday when I got to interview him, so I got to wish him a happy birthday, and he was, in his words, gobsmacked that I knew about it, and just a great guy. I've loved everything I've seen Sean Pertwee in. So yeah, he was an absolutely great Alfred in Gotham. But this series it's very much an Elseworld. It is not the world we know. So you can't expect that. You have to keep in mind that this is going to be a very different take. Things aren't going to happen that are normal, like the fact that London is taken over by a right-wing radical society. Doesn't actually happen, at least not until Brexit. It didn't happen in the 1950s or 60s. I think it's the 60s is when this is going on. So you got to go with that. But Jack Bannon is excellent as Alfred. His mates are fun. Thomas Wayne is pretty good. The relationship between Thomas and Martha is really interesting because you keep looking at them going, how the hell are they going to end up married and having Bruce? Is that even possible? The other characters they bring in, John Ripper is just creepy as hell as the Mortician gangster. He comes up to Alfred is reeling from Esme's death, and Ripper just shows up at the house. And Ripper's the type of person that if he shows up at your door, you let him in because he'll kill you if you don't. You do whatever he says, and he shows up and goes, my normal running partner can't run with me because he has 2 broken legs. And he goes, you're a size 8, aren't you? And tosses him a pair of shoes. He goes, I don't run. He goes, put them on. Next thing you know, he's got Alfred out running with him, and they do this over a series of time to get him out of his head, being out of his mourning and back into the world. And then you think, well, maybe this Ripper guy's okay. Maybe he's a decent guy deep down. And then you find out why he's doing what he's doing, and you go, oh no, he's an asshole. Just like everybody else. Everybody's just manipulating poor Alfred. And it is such a fun series. So I do recommend it. It's on HBOMax. If it seems slow in the beginning, run with it. Stick around. By the end of the first season, this thing is just absolutely insane. And you start going back and putting all the pieces in your head together. Like, yeah, they've been setting this up since the beginning, but damn, that's weird. But fun. So much fun. So that's pretty much my thoughts on season 1 of Pennyworth. It is just, there's a lot. There's definitely some Avengers feel to it. And again, I don't mean Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. I mean Steed and Peel Avengers, the old TV show, not the movie. TV show. And there's that feel to it, especially in episode 3 or 4. Episode 4. Where we meet Lady Penelope. No, is that? Yeah, that's episode 4. Lady Penelope. It is 1 and 2 are a little slow. 3 and 4 really pick things up. And then 5 is a good old-fashioned like Get Carter type story. 6 and 7 are absolutely crazy with supernatural stuff. And then all that supernatural stuff is put aside, and we get the whole political takeover spy thriller thing back for 8 and 9, and then 10 is kind of the fallout, and then the extra fallout we didn't know was coming. So it is really a good series, and I highly recommend it because it's different. There's nothing else like it on TV right now. So give it a shot. It's on HBOMax. I will dive into season 2 over this weekend so I can talk about at least the first half on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Tomorrow, we will be talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer that dropped today and any other news that comes up. And then you want to stick around today because after this, I believe we have Kyle? Comics Collectibles?
Yeah, I think that's next.
All right. It's Wednesday, so Comics Collectibles, and then what's in the box?
Wednesday Warriors at 9.
Wednesday Warriors. Okay.
What's in the box is on Thursdays.
Okay. I used to know this stuff.
I think. I don't remember. It's been a long week.
Stick
Send
around.
caffeine.
Stick around. Someone's going to be in this box talking to you right after I finish. There'll be some commercials. We'll do that one where we all wish you hello and give it the name of our show. There'll probably be that spinning number thing, and then we'll get right back into the show, and somebody will start talking. It'll probably be Rex and John selling you some comics, but we'll see. All right? Stick around. Hope you guys all have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.